The James Show Podcast.
Does the name Anthony Weiner ring a bell? Anthony Weiner is the guy. This story is the first time I really thought that we're plugged into the Matrix. We're not actually living a regular, real planet Earth existence here. We're just some power cell for the robots. They've already won the revolution, and we're just we're imagining all this. This is just being typed in by some AI bot that's running us through a simulation, because there's no way the guy who keeps sending Weiner pics is named Weiner. You've got to be kidding me. And then on top of that, this isn't like a Brett Favre situation. He's sending it to minors on top of that. So, okay, what's the guy's wife's name? And I kid you not, look it up. Her name's Huma. Huma. Now, when she's out in public, she doesn't use his name, but in marriage speak, her name is Huma Weiner. I'm not making that up. Like, that really happened. And ever since 2011, I've been above 50% in my belief that we're plugged into a simulation right now. We're in the Matrix is what we're in. We all got a good laugh at that. Ha ha. The Weiner guy got in trouble for the Weiner pics, and his wife's name's Huma. And it was a good giggle, other than the fact that he was, sending pics to, I think it was like a minor in Seattle or something to that effect. But he got in trouble, slap on the wrist. He's no longer in Congress. He was in Congress. You believe that? And then he did it again in 2013. And then he did it again in 2015. And he actually went to prison for it. So this isn't a guy who made a mistake or whatever. This is a guy who has an established pattern, and it's reached a level of compulsion. Because whenever you continue to do this terrible behavior, just right in the face of negative consequences, just running into brick walls, you continue to do it. Yeah, you have some sort of weird compulsion. You have an addiction. You are a sex predator. You are beyond deviant. You're criminal. But at the time, old Parker here kept some receipts. Oh, don't you love the Audiotron 3000? Never forgets. Back in 2011, the first time it broke out, I made a montage of the media downplaying what we called Weinergate at the time. So this is my media downplays Weinergate montage. And just look at how 14 years later, how wrong are these people about almost everything important in the news?
But okay, so what? Who cares? I think he's credible when he says I didn't send it.
Nothing, but nothing should matter to you less than the legal sexual conduct of any politician.
Couldn't he be fully clothed almost, and then they could Photoshop it and put it like that?
I'm giving you the context, and I'm giving you why a lot of people were inclined to give him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, wake me when we have a real sex scandal, Anderson.
We have so much going on in this country, and this we are spending 4 days.
Well, we probably shouldn't care a lot. It's sort of a great lark of a diversion.
Republicans in Washington are still trying to kill Medicare and not raise the debt ceiling, but the anti-social media is fixated on a Twitter scandal.
Somebody's out to get him, apparently.
What Anthony Weiner is even accused of doing, even if true, is just nothing.
And so how wrong were they? He did it again in 2013, 2015, went to prison, got out, and now he's running for mayor of New York City.
New York City!
Here he is on The View, and they sound like they're on his side. They just set up the table for him to explain himself, and then you just got to hear this for yourself. This is some mind-blowing stuff right here.
You resigned from Congress in 2011.
By the way, this was on Friday. This wasn't years ago. This was Friday.
You resigned from Congress in 2011 over a sexting scandal. 2 years later, you stepped down from the mayoral race after sexting again under the alias Carlos Danger. And then in 2016, you sent lewd texts to a minor and served 15 months in prison, in addition to becoming a registered sex offender. Right. So with all that said, why do you think, or why should New Yorkers give you a chance at a political comeback?
Hang on. Why should you let this guy on your show? I wouldn't let this guy on my show, and I'm like 8 rungs down the showbiz ladder from The View. Oh my, I'm like just one rung above birthday clowns. I'm one rung below rodeo clowns, and I wouldn't let this guy on my show. Shame on you, The View, for taking this guy serious. I mean, this is a guy who can't live within 1,000 feet of a school, but he can be in the mayor's mansion?
Well, let me just say this. I mean,
all of that happened, and I accept responsibility for it. You won't hear me do what some other people in public life have done, Donald Trump or Andrew Cuomo or Eric Adams. I'm a victim. They persecuted me for no reason.
None of those people were sending wiener pics to minors, but go ahead.
And I was dealing with very serious problems. I was dealing with what I now understand to be addiction. I lost my brother Seth to addiction.
You think?
And I accepted. I didn't ask for a trial. I pled guilty.
Yeah, but see, he's not addicted to coffee. He's not addicted to Bud Light. He's addicted to being a predator on children. Anyway.
My time in prison. Served in a halfway house, served probation, went to try to do good work for the formerly incarcerated. And I guess what I'm saying to people is maybe don't vote for me in spite of what they know about me, but maybe consider that journey, that idea that we all go through things and we come out the other side. And also, what does it mean? You know, I'm Jewish, but they have this notion in Catholicism around you suffer for a reason so you can be of service at the other end. So I'm not asking people, I'm doing the opposite of what a lot of politicians do when they're in my position. Ignore that problem, pretend it didn't happen, blame someone else. I am saying, yes, I did these things. I got into recovery. I try to make my life better. And now if I can be of service, and I'm a damn good politician. I come up with answers. Yep. I talk to people directly.
You are.
I don't try to butter over things. I try to be direct. Then why shouldn't I? And if it's just because I have bad things in my past, that's not a good enough reason. I mean, look, all I can ever be is who I am right now. Yeah. And that brought me to this space.
Yeah, and you're a sexual predator on children. You know, if you have a felony on your record and you're a registered sex offender, you can't get a job at a bank or a daycare. You can't live within 1,000 feet of a school. You have all kinds of restrictions. Should you be allowed to run for office? Like, if the voters of New York want to have him as mayor, I'm not sure if I'm even cool with saying, well, if this is what they want, they chose him. Shouldn't that be a deal breaker? You're a registered sex offender. You're a serial child predator. Certainly, in a metropolitan area of 20 million people, y'all can find someone who would be a good mayor who doesn't repeatedly, over years and years, prey on children. Someone who isn't a registered sex offender. I go to the justice.gov, and you can find a little bit of paperwork here on former Congressman Anthony Weiner, whose first wife's name, Humma. I just can't get over that because I'm a child. But he was sentenced originally to 21 months in prison for transferring obscene material to a minor. Now, he only had to serve 15 of that, but that's 15 more months than you've done in prison. And transferring obscene material to a minor, is that a bad thing? I thought, do you just have to be a middle school librarian to do that? I didn't know that was a felony in some instances, but not in others. And I'm scratching my head. Shouldn't be, if you're a convicted felon and on the sexual offender registry list, should you be running for mayor? Should you be allowed to run for mayor? Now, that's one of the things that you had to hear up and down last year when Trump got convicted, and he was now a convicted felon. Remember how that was like a disqualifying factor? He's a convicted. Who would vote for a convicted felon?
Donald Trump is a convicted felon.
A convicted felon. Convicted felon. A convicted felon. A convicted felon.
Convicted felon. A convicted felon.
A convicted felon.
A convicted felon.
Convicted as a felon.
Remember that all the way? I remember all the way to last year when being a convicted felon was a deal breaker to people, and it was a big deal. 800-288-9227. Are we in the Matrix? Is that what we're discovering here? This can't be real. Ryan in Hazlitt, you're on WBAP. Your thoughts on Weiner?
Hey, James, I think you need to dig a little bit deeper. That Humma, she was the assistant, I believe,
to Hillary Clinton,
to a Secretary of State Hillary Clinton.
Yep.
I think that's why Anthony has renewed political aspirations, because his wife is connected to the Clintons.
That's a former connection. Now, I'm sure they're all still friends, especially in a professional setting. But the even more dastardly part is because he couldn't keep his wee-wee off of pictures that he was sending to children, when the FBI came and picked up his laptop, they actually found some traces of Hillary Clinton's emails because, there's a little bit of overlap there. So if anything, you would think Hillary Clinton would want that sloppy actor the heck out of Dodge because he almost sunk her once before.
Yeah, but that family will do anything to get back in power in any way, shape, or form.
None of us doubt that, Ryan. None of us doubt that at all. It's just crazy when you see the weird overlaps that this all has. This overlaps with the Hillary Clinton email scandal, and then you have the other Hillary Clinton scandals that were going on involving, falsifying evidence. And, man, that laptop, this guy, when you're that compromised, when you have that level of immoral foibles, you got to think this guy just must be blackmailed to the hilt. Like, that's why they were taking everyone to Epstein Island, so you get blackmail material on them. Love that theory. Andre and Irving, you're on WBAP. Your thoughts on Weiner?
So we knew this when I lived in New York, that Weiner was a sleazebag when he was in the city council. He was a sleazebag when he was a Queens congressman. The only reason why he got off so easy when he was in jail...
Word choice, Andre.
Apologies.
Okay. Yeah. So the only reason he got off so easily when he went to jail
was because his connections with his wife, Huma Abedin, who was Hillary Clinton's personal assistant.
Mm-hmm.
If it was any other regular pervert, he would have gotten 5 to 15 years easily for sending pictures of his private parts to a little girl.
Well, 3 times. 3 times he did that.
And then he goes on live TV and it says, I have an addiction. No. I drink cups of coffee every day. People smoke cigarettes. That's an addiction. You touching little kids and send the pics to little kids? No, you're a disgusting pervert who has a much bigger issue than that.
Yeah,
also relies to a bigger issue in New York. That's the best New York can do.
I know that's the mind-blowing part. A metropolitan area of 20 million people, you got to get the convicted pedophile guy. He shouldn't be in the mayor's office. He should be in a wood chipper, Andre. Thank you very much.
Well, and that's the thing. Thank you.
Steven in Dallas, you're on WBAP. Your thoughts on Weiner?
Yes, sir. I just want to speak along my own case in a situation. I have a brother that 22 years ago made a bad decision. He was filed and accused of grooming a 14-year-old at the age of 19. Again, that was 20-something years ago. But to this day, this man can't get a job anywhere. He can't leave his home without advising somebody that he's going on a trip. If he decides to leave the state of Texas, go to Louisiana. Hell, we tried to go golfing in Florida, and the state of Florida wouldn't allow him to be even on the ground less than 48 hours. So I'm just saying is if we take things so strictly and everything falls under certain kind of guidelines for pedophiles and pedophilia and things of that nature, why the hell is our government not actually standing up and abiding by that? It seems like we're falling under the situation of do as us.
Yeah, well, also, I would like to say to the voters on Team Blue, like, my God, look at what you people will put up with. You tried to run a guy who had mashed potato for brains, and you told us that he was smart for the last 5 years when we all saw clear evidence that he wasn't. You tried to tell us Kamala Harris was likable and Tim Walz is manly. You tried to tell us the Hunter Biden laptop was Russian disinformation, and you tried to tell us Jussie Smollett got beat up by guys in MAGA hats. Like, Are you guys okay over there? Are you seeing the same TV we're looking at? Are you getting the same information? That's why I think that doesn't seem as likely as the fact that we're plugged into the Matrix, because that's the most reasonable scenario here on why modern America and the political scene has gotten this out of whack. Anthony Weiner's running for mayor of New York City. That's crazy. He can do whatever he wants to do. I am more appalled by the reaction to it. Why is everyone not just putting this guy in a catapult and just chunking him out of town whenever you see him? Why would The View even let him on The View? And if he's going to be on The View, why don't you use this as an excuse to beat him up and show the world that we don't care if you agree with us politically or you've been an effective congressman for your district. If you serially abuse children, that's a deal breaker. That's not a deal breaker for you ladies on The View. So if you're not familiar, if you're just joining us, Anthony Weiner was in Congress up until 2011 when he got in trouble for sending pics of his last name to an underage girl. I think this was in Seattle or something like that. So he had to resign from Congress. There was a disgrace, and he kind of went away. And then he was running for mayor 12 years ago, and he got in trouble again. Same thing. Now, his wife, Huma, was still with him at the time, and I drug this out of the old Audiotron 3000. This is Huma Weiner. I mean, she was going by Huma Abedin at the time, I guess still. But she had to come out and make a terrible speech on behalf of her husband.
Anthony's made some horrible mistakes. both before he resigned from Congress and after. But I do very strongly believe that is between us and our marriage.
No, I don't think so. Well, maybe there's something that does need to be worked out with your marriage situation. They're divorced now, by the way. But shouldn't that be a deal breaker? If you can't get a job at a daycare, if you're not allowed like within 1,000 feet of a school, shouldn't that disqualify you from being mayor of the largest city in the country? Or heck, the mayor of Bucktussle. There could be a town with like 4 people, and 3 of them would be a better choice for mayor than Anthony Weiner. This is Frank in Mansfield. You're on WBAP. Your thoughts on Weiner?
Anthony, I have insight on this. My family from New York, you can spot an accent here perhaps, helped run his campaign for mayor the first time.
Oh, good job, family. Thanks a lot, Frank's family.
We have huge fights at weddings and funerals, the left versus the right. And then, anyway, her name she goes by Umer, his ex-wife. They were to get divorced, but they didn't.
They say, no, we're not going to be associated with that. And if they did, they said nice things about him. Oh, you're a good politician.
Yeah. Well, they're all getting paid one way or the other, or somebody's got tips on them, right, with all this other junk coming out.
Who are the people that are paying these folks off? Because I never get an offer. I got to run around in a 10-year-old Toyota with body damage here. When am I going to get paid off?
They don't like you. You tell the truth. And you're on the right side, man.
Well, that can change, and I'm probably a lot cheaper than most of the guys out there.
You wouldn't change. I don't think you would. This guy is just really bad. He was at our wedding, one of the weddings I was at, and my whole family of cops and law enforcement guys on the other side, special service guys. And I said, look, if this guy gets punched out in the bathroom, don't get mad at us. They go, we have Secret Service people here and everything. I said, they don't care. Keep him away from everybody. He didn't show up. They didn't show up.
Fun stuff. Great call, Frank in Mansfield. Appreciate your time, sir. Let's do Lloyd and McKinney. You're next up on WBAP. Your thoughts on Weiner?
Hey, thanks for having me. Okay, I'm a previous Democrat. The party has gone so far, man. Like allowing men and women's sports and beating them up is okay. Now they're saying this is okay. Like, no, this is ridiculous. How can he possibly have the best interest of the city with this kind of history? You always have to be questioned everything he does.
Well, even if he has like the perfect policy positions, because, I already don't like the guy based on his politics, but I like to try and reframe this in my head if I can. And what if this guy was sort of like a lowercase L libertarian, half conservative like me and was going to govern that way? And I like to think I would still be against him. Like it's a deal breaker. I don't care. If it was my brother, that would be a deal breaker. And I'd just bang in my head that Sonny Hostin is sitting next to him, who can find offense in the most trifling of causes, who's saying nice things about this dude. That's the mind-blowing part. Not that this psycho is running again, but that anyone's taking him serious enough to give him...
Hey, I get to talk about Weiner on the radio, so I get excited sometimes. But today is special because I think about Weiner, but then I think about his opponent. Some would say the other word for Weiner. I mean, Cuomo, the guy who killed half of New York during the China virus. He's the opponent of the guy who's diddling little kids. I don't understand the people in New York. There's no good answer, from what I can see, as to why the only options in New York are the craziest of crazy people.
Well, he didn't even get in trouble for killing all those people during COVID. He got in trouble for being a creeper himself with what was it, someone on his staff that he was sexually harassing. And we also learned too much about this dude, Steve, in the press conferences. He would come out there wearing a polo shirt, and you could see through it that the dude has nipple rings. And, that's not really a deal breaker or affects, your policy preferences either way. But when you're in your mid-60s and you're rocking nipple rings, you have some sort of weird sex thing going on because you're not a rock star. It doesn't go along with the territory of what you do for a living or for a hobby. You are a creeper. And then we made those jokes, and then months later, he got pushed out of office for being a creeper. Yeah. Y'all got a great crop of candidates up there in New York City. Good. I'm sure your next mayor is going to be just fantastic. So much of the news swirling around D.C. It's just a tornado of activity here in the first 5 months of Trump 2.0. And I think a lot of us would have guessed in the first 6 months that there would already be talks of impeaching the guy. And then here we are. And my next guest is going to help us break it down. His name's Jeff Crouere. You can see him on your TV on Real America's Voice. He's also a radio host. But he's actually a friend of mine. It's funny because... Welcome to the show, Jeff. Garrett booked you. He's like, yeah, I got a good guy to talk about this tomorrow, Jeff Crouere. I was like, I know that dude. So welcome to the James Show here on WBAP, Jeff.
Hello, my longtime friend. Good to be with you. Thanks for having me.
Well, let's just go ahead and jump right in it because this is your wheelhouse. This is where you dominate, talking about the scuttlebutt in D.C. Yeah. And we know this is all political theater. We know this is all for show. We know this is just to rally the base, and whoever's pitching this, they're going to get some attention, and they're going to get some name recognition. They're going to get to do a bunch of interviews. But even if it is just a big kabuki theater, it kind of works. It really, like when they tried this on Trump 1.0, it really did rally their base. It really did work out well for the people who were trying it. They got all kinds of notoriety and whatnot. So, Jeff, your thoughts on the movement already to impeach Trump?
Well, I mean, Democrats deliver for their base. I mean, Democrats impeached him twice. I mean, Democrats passed radical legislation under Biden. I mean, Democrats do it. I mean, and of course, if they have an opportunity again, they'll impeach him again, and they'll investigate him, and they'll make his life miserable, and they'll investigate the family. That's what Democrats do. I mean, they act. Republicans just talk. So I have no doubt that they will do it again. I mean, of course, it's based on nothing. I mean, they're all crazed lunatics. They all have Trump derangement syndrome. But, I mean, they're going to deliver. They don't deliver anything of consequence, but they certainly deliver good Trump bashing and impeachments, and that's what they'll do.
Well, here's the other thing that has me concerned, Jeff Crouere, is we saw them do this between his two terms in that 4-year span. They decided we're going to go ahead and arrest this guy and charge him with the crime. We'll figure out later what the crime is. They had already made up their minds that they were going to take him to court and charge him with something. And then they just backfilled the excuse for it later. And that's what they're doing here. What has he done that requires impeachment? I don't know. We're going to impeach him, and we'll just figure it out when we get there.
Exactly. And they're going to investigate him, and they're going to claim that he's mentally incompetent, and they're doing that now. Of course, everything that they did not do with Joe Biden, who actually was mentally and still is mentally incompetent. But no, what Trump has done is he's secured the border. I mean, he's brought down inflation. Military recruitment is up. I mean, he's trying to bring peace to the world. I mean, he's trying to do what he can on his own with no help from Congress and certainly no help from the Democrats. So, yeah, of course, there's no reason to impeach him. There wasn't a reason to impeach him for the phone call to Zelensky back in 2019. There was no reason to impeach him for January 6th when he told people to peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard. None of it was worthwhile, but they did it anyway. Because that's all they have, James. They just have Trump derangement syndrome. That's it.
I think it's important that we go ahead and bring this up and start the conversation before they do, because when we set this level of context, then it's going to be obvious what they're doing, because the midterm elections, they're happening next year. And right. I think one of the main pillars that they're going to run off, maybe the main talking point in their platform, is going to be, we need a majority in the House so we can impeach Trump. And I think that's going to be the thrust of the midterm elections.
Yeah, they offer hate. That's an anti-Trump derangement syndrome. They offer really nothing of any positive consequence to people. I mean, you just look at the Biden 4 years. I mean, people were hurting economically. The border was open. I mean, America really suffered. Didn't matter. I mean, all they wanted to do is try to, go after Trump and prevent him from running again. Amazingly, he was able to still evade all of that, run again, win again, and now he's back in office, and he's even better than he was the first term, in my opinion. So, yeah, I'm glad you're having a conversation now. That is what they're going to do. They have nothing else. They've got no leaders. I mean, I cited a poll in my recent column. Pete Buttigieg is their leading candidate for president in 2028. That's how pathetic they are right now.
Well, we're talking with Jeff Crouere. He's a talk show host on the radio, and you can see him on TV on Real America's Voice. Can you hang on for another segment? Because I wanted to ask you about that SAM, the Speaking to American Males initiative. I want to ask you about the big, beautiful bill. We got a lot to chat about. Can you hang on for another segment? I don't know if you're...
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Be glad to.
Because we only scheduled him for one. But this is Jeff Crouere from Real America's Voice. You're welcome to share your thoughts as well. We'll talk about speaking to American males, thoughts on the big, beautiful bill, and all things Trump coming up next with Jeff Crouere. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP.
The James Show Podcast.
Getting back into the political talk in D.C., Jeff Crouere, I think we've all gotten a good giggle out of the initiative called SAM. That's the Democrats' $20 million initiative called Speaking with American Males. And I just enjoy watching them try and invent reasons that they lost, they push males away, except for admitting the real problem.
Well, I mean, the real problem is their message. The real problem are their candidates. I mean, the real problem are the consequences of their policies.
Exactly.
And males, I think, have just had enough. And, they left the Democrat Party in droves. So, yeah, they have a real problem. They have a real problem with candidates like Pete Buttigieg, who's leading right now in 2028.
That'll win us over, won't it, Jeff?
And Kamala Harris, who was their nominee in 2024. I mean, they don't have JFK anymore, James. They don't have Harry Truman anymore. They've got people like that.
Well, I wouldn't even go. Don't go back that far, Jeff. You're doing yourself a disservice. They don't have Joe Rogan anymore. You want to talk to one of the number one men whisperers on planet Earth right now? Who has a better sway and influence with male voters in America other than the biggest podcast, Joe Rogan? And he's a manly man. He works out. He has muscles. He does cage fighting. He talks about sports and bourbon and
right.
So that you had him. Go get him back on your team. You don't have to come up with something new. But here's where I would start, Jeff, and they don't consult me. I would take some of the $20 million initiative if they wanted to get my advice. But I would say, here, let's start with this. Why don't you just say one nice thing about men? Can we just start there?
Mm-hmm. Right. And I haven't heard it. All I see are people like Tim Walz, who plays a role of a real man, but he's not. And he tries to act tough, but he really comes across as an idiot. And that's what they do. They present people like that. Joe Rogan, all the people that I think were in the middle left them. I mean, just got disgusted by them. And that's their problem. I mean, their agenda is their problem. They've gone so far left. My Louisiana native, the crazy man, the Raging Cajun, he rails about that all the time on these podcasts. I mean, he knows,
Carville.
Yeah, he knows. Yeah. Carville. He knows that the party has gone way, way too far to the left, and he's worried about it, and as he should be.
All right, let's talk about, I think it's something that should be of concern to Republicans, especially big R Republicans, is this big, beautiful bill scenario may have just split up what was a great little tag team of Elon and Trump. Is it now Elon versus Trump?
I mean, I don't think it will be. I mean, I think on this they disagree. I think they'll still work together on future projects, but I agree with Elon. I mean, I think this bill is really a mess, and I think there's some good things in there that I like. But, I mean, imagine what Elon went through. I mean, Elon went through hell to do a service for the nation, to lead Doge. And for that, he had death threats. He had his Teslas attacked, his dealerships firebombed. He had all kinds of problems that he had to deal with just because he wanted to serve the public for free. He wasn't getting paid a dime. And as a result of all that, they don't put any of his cuts in the package. They're now going to do a little rescission package of $9.8 billion.
Whoop-de-doo. Yeah.
That's peanuts. Yeah. I mean, he identified about $170 billion on the way to doing $1 trillion in savings. And, I mean, it was a massive service to the American people. It's the best thing we've had since the Grace Commission in the 80s, and it's even better than that. So I can understand why he's upset, James.
Jeff Crouere from Real America's Voice. Why does Trump support this?
Trump wants his tax cuts renewed. He is really keen on that. And I think that for him is his number one goal. And he feels like he has to put this coalition together to get it through. The Republicans have barely any margin in the House. So they got it through. What I'm hoping, James, is they can fix it in the Senate, and they can satisfy the fiscal conservatives like Ron Johnson and Rand Paul and Mike Lee, and those are people I all really admire. And if they come on board, if they see some cuts, then we can get this thing through. But we're a long way from that. But I do want to see the president succeed. I mean, I'm a big supporter of the president. I want his agenda to go through, but I don't want another kicking the can down the road. Republicans have been doing that for years. They were given power to act. We've got to do something about the spending. James, we're $37 trillion. We've already added $800 billion to the national debt in the 4.5 months Donald Trump has been president. It's got to be addressed.
Well, I find this especially frustrating. It's one of the reasons I'm not a registered Republican, is that when we put Democrats in power, they overspend. We get big deficits and inflation. Then when we put Republicans in, it's about 95% of the same. We overspend. We have big deficits and inflation. And if you want a smaller government, you don't have anybody to vote for, whether in D.C. or in Austin.
You got Thomas Massey, you got Rand Paul, you've got a few people, but that's it. I mean, you don't have many that are fiscal hawks. You don't have many that care about spending. Both parties, you're right, both parties are to blame. Both parties, under both parties, presidential administrations of the debt has skyrocketed. Under President Trump's first term, it went up about $7.8 trillion. Under Joe Biden, it went up $8.6 trillion. And we're on the road to increase it even more now.
Well, that's what we talk about when we gripe about the deep state. This is what we mean. It means doesn't matter who you send down there. There is just this organization that has this inertia that can't be stopped no matter how hard you vote. Jeff Crouere, Real America's Voice. How do we find your work online, sir?
My website is my last name, crouere.net, CROUERE.net. All the good stuff is on there. And James, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Good to talk to you again, Jeff. We'll have you back on soon.
The James Show Podcast.